This is pretty cool. The car thing, actually, my 11-year-old who's here with us asked if that's what we got. So, maybe. And Michael, one of the things I thought you were going to get to with your rabbit and snake, I thought it was going to be an official. So that's where I thought we were.
You have choices.
Yes. So, gosh, what a great honor to be here today in front of family and friends and coaches and people that I've met through this wonderful game, from Neil to David to Michael to Denny and several others. I was an Iowa boy and got an opportunity to go to Northwest Missouri State. I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player. And right out of high school, I got an opportunity to go to a Royals little clinic camp tryout. And I remember them talking to me at the end of the day and just said, you should probably go to college. I'd struggled to hit the curveball, and that was one of those things. But through that, growing up in Iowa, the family values that my parents instilled. In fact, they're not here today because we have a huge family wedding going on that they actually asked, even after I was going to get this award, if I was coming. So that's where it's about family. And I actually have a daughter who's up in Minneapolis playing volleyball today. But my lovely wife and two sons are here with me today. And so thank you for the opportunity to give them a swimming pool tonight. We're going to stay in Springfield and enjoy the evening. But through high school in Marshalltown, Iowa, I had a Hall of Fame coach that taught me the game, George Funk, just a wonderful man. In fact, he sent his best wishes by text, even though he says he does not text. He actually sent me one this last week, so that was a pretty cool thing. And then when I got to Northwest Missouri, there was a very young coach. And he actually came to me because I had played in the JV program. And I loved the game of basketball. I was playing baseball, so I was kind of trying to do two things. And he just asked, he says, would you consider being a student assistant? I said, what is that? He says, well, you can help with the JV and do stats and you know, fill in and practice. And that young coach was Larry Holly. And the thing about Larry is that I was actually, I think, the first basketball operations guy, but didn't get paid for it. I was doing everything from stats to helping with the practices, helping the JV, going on trips, doing hotels, doing laundry, but Larry always allowed me to be a part of what the coaches were doing. I learned so much from him. And then right out of college, I was able to go to Elbia, or not Elbia first, but Russell, Iowa, a town of about 500 people. They had more cattle in the county than they did people. And I was the assistant football head cross country, same season. It's amazing how that stuff works. Head basketball, head junior high basketball, head track, boys and girls, head track, boys and girls junior high. And they didn't have a baseball program, so silly me decided I wanted to start one. And I was also the head softball coach. So I was pretty busy for $8,900 a year. But I was there for 3 years, gained a lot of experience because I was young and I was trying to do it on my own. And as many guys have alluded to, you steal things. I was going to clinics. I was watching Don Meyer's videos, learning as much about the game as I possibly could. And I was fortunate enough that 3 years later, a larger school district, the superintendent had been an official and liked how I coached. So he gave me the opportunity to go to Elbia, Iowa. Now, at this time, I want to thank the school board of Elbia, Iowa, for giving me the opportunity to move to Missouri. Actually, they had voted 4-3 to keep me. And I actually interviewed at Eudora, Kansas, so between Kansas City and Lawrence, because I just figured 4-3 we had a winning record, but that evidently wasn't quite good enough. Plus the fact that I played 2 sophomores over school board members' kids. And so I did. I started looking, and I looked in Des Moines, and Quad Cities, and I stopped in Liberty, Missouri. Larry Holly was the coach of William Jewell, and I just said, if you know anybody that's looking for a coach, please call me. I would love to get into the metropolitan area. 2 days later, Archbishop O'Hara called and needed an assistant. Then I had to do some soul searching. Do I want to be an assistant after being a head coach? I made the right decision. I was there for 2 years, and then that coach left, went to Ottawa University of Steve Hill. And he had taught me an awful lot just in the 2 years that I've been there. And then I coached at O'Hara for 8. Then I moved to Liberty, Missouri, and coached there for 5 years and had some great players. Won a state title, actually went 31-0 in '98. And then a couple of years later, I had a friend ask, is there anywhere that you would want to go coach? You've got a good thing going here at Liberty. And I said, maybe Rockhurst. Maybe Rockhurst. Good students. Get back on the south side, that's where O'Hara was. Back to my faith, the Catholic faith. I thought that would be a pretty good fit. Lo and behold, 2 weeks later, one of the school board trustees calls and wanted to know if I'd be interested in interviewing for the job. Sure, sounds great. And when I walked into my first interview, I felt really good. Sitting at about the 3rd seat to my right was the priest that married my wife and I. So that was a pretty good sign. And gosh, 14 years later, we won another championship. Had a great run in the postseason. And it was an opportunity for me to, as somebody put it, I'm going out with a W. I've been coaching this game for 34 years. 32 as a head coach, and it was an opportunity for me to be with my boys, to see my daughter, who's a sophomore in high school, and then also realize that old coaches never really die, they just become golf coaches. So that's what we're doing. As always, I've been surrounded by good people. My coaching staffs at every place, I've been fortunate enough that when I have left, the administration has actually hired my assistant. To me, that's a pretty good sign that we were doing something right, that they didn't want to go another direction. And that was one of the things when I left Russell, my assistant, left Elbia, my assistant. But I do know that 2 years later, my assistant in Elbia left too, with a vote of 4-3. And then a Missouri Coaches Hall of Famer, Kevin Nichols, came in, was at Cameron. In fact, Kevin and I are going to write a letter to Elbia and thank them. But he was there for 2 years and got a vote of 4-3 and left also. So Elbia is a great place to go from, I guess. But then O'Hara, the people allowed me to be my own coach. And I actually have had 6 former players go on to coach basketball from there, as well as 3 of my former assistants be head coaches. And then at Liberty, 3 of my former assistants were head coaches. And now it's a pleasure to go from Rockhurst, and my assistant coach is now going to be the head coach. But the 2 guys that have been my best buds for my career at Rockhurst, Paul Byrne, right here, Pete Campbell right over here. Pete and I have a kind of a special relationship due to the fact that he's also the AD. So he's kind of my boss during the day, and I'm kind of his boss at night, which is, I'm still trying to figure out how to work that one into my marriage. But now that Pete's going to do that, he's got to give up something that I know that he enjoyed doing, being the AD. But now I'm so excited that he's going to get the opportunity to be the head basketball coach at Rockhurst. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor. The Missouri Basketball Coaches Association, thank you. The Missouri Hall of Fame, thanks for hosting this. It has been great, and I can't wait for my grandkids to come back and see games. Thanks.